This next article says toxic relationships can be more detrimental to your physical and mental health than poor diet and bad genes, studies have revealed. Multiple studies have revealed that bad relationships, particularly toxic ones, can profoundly impact physical, and mental health. These relationships are a constant source of stress, triggering the body's fight or flight response and leading to heightened anxiety and a sense of unease. The negativity, manipulation, and emotional abuse often found in toxic relationships can lead to feelings of hopelessness and despair, contributing to depression. Toxic relationships leave individuals feeling drained, helpless, and confused due to the emotional manipulation and lack of support. Those are just the mental health effects of these toxic relationships. The physical effects are also quite extreme. These constant state of stress that triggers the fight or flight response elevates cortisol levels, causes inflammation, disrupts hormonal balance, weakens the immune system, and can even cause severe chronic diseases, autoimmune diseases, and even cancer. This isn't talking about strictly a partner relationship. Family members can make you feel this way too. And it is vital to remove toxic people from your life, despite the level of relationships. Put your oxygen mask on and leave. Man, I wholeheartedly agree with that shit, man. I wholeheartedly agree with that shit. Um, because I was in a toxic relationship years ago, you know. Now I didn't let it affect my, I didn't let it trigger me, right? To the point where I was depressed and I got fat. But this is the case for a lot of people, man. This is the case for a lot of individuals that right now are stuck in relationships. And I'm not a relationship coach. I'm not sitting here trying to act like I'm trying to give y'all game on relationships, right? I still have a lot to learn from my past. But what I can say is this, because this does apply to health and fitness, man. And this applies to the winner's diet philosophy, which I always talk about. And if you guys don't know what the winner's diet philosophy is, right? There's four pillars. It's not about just what you eat, right? The four pillars are your diet, who you're around, what you listen to, and your habits. So you're if you're in a toxic relationship, that can disrupt all four pillars of your winner's diet. So if you have a goal that you're set out to achieve, well, that goal can potentially not be reached because you have somebody with negative energy constantly bringing you down. And that's kind of where I was at a point in my life, right? At a point in my life, I was with somebody that I feel like didn't have my best interests at heart. I felt like I was with somebody that didn't really know where they were going in life, and I did. But because for me, I didn't want to be with somebody. For me, I didn't want to be alone, you know. So you kind of settle with the first person that, you know, that you that you I guess hit it off with, right? And over time, the true person comes out, right? Because you guys have been in relationships, man, or toxic relationships. You guys know that, man. The first time you meet that person, it's always gonna be the representation, right? You're not meeting the real person at first. You're meeting their representative. So just from my experience and dealing with different women and being in relationships, I can honestly say that it only takes about 6 months to a year for that mask to come off, right? Some people it comes off a lot sooner. Some of them comes off a lot later, depending on what they want out of it, right? Some people have because everyone has an agenda. And mainly when you're dealing with women, the main agenda, if you're dealing with them long enough, is going to be marriage or kids or both. So sometimes, I'm not saying this is all of them, right? I don't want to overgeneralize, but if they have an agenda in mind, if they want something from you, well, the moment they get it, that mask is going to come off. And everybody's different. So everybody has different wants and needs. But as soon as they get it, as soon as they get what they want out of it, that mask is going to come off. And then you see the real them. And then you see at that moment, well, this person is not for you. But at that point, as a man, we know as men, it's not that easy to leave relationships. This is why we don't leave relationships as easy as women do, mainly because we're so invested in these relationships. We didn't spend all this time, money, and we've done this for years on end. Like, bitch, you ain't going nowhere. Fuck it, we gonna be miserable together. But women, when they get what they want, they gone just like that, because they're not as invested as we are, right? So when you're with someone, man, that is draining you physically, mentally, emotionally, this can lead to a variety of different problems that this article stated. Autoimmune diseases, right? Cancer. Goddamn. You can get cancer dealing with the wrong person, right? Depression, anxiety, low self-worth, high stress. Like cortisol is the stress hormone, right? When you're stressed out, your cortisol shoots through the roof. Your cortisol gets higher. Now you're storing more fat. Now you have low self-esteem because now your body isn't the way it used to be. You're letting yourself go. And I guarantee you, the person that you're with, they're not reinforcing how good you look. You know, this is why you see a lot of people that are married, they have a lot of sexless marriages, man. So it's very important. And this is not only applied to relationships, man, with like your significant other. This can be applied to family members, right? This can be applied to friendships. This can be applied to work environments. That's another one that doesn't go really noticed a lot, right? Your work environment can be toxic, but you can't just up and go, because it's like, this is your job. And if you got a family and kids to provide for, well, how can you just leave, right? But this can slowly kill you over time. I've seen many men, bro. I've seen many men, or just many people in general, whether it be men or women, lose themselves in toxic relationships because they can't leave. You know, John Moran says every relationship in life should be beneficial for both parties. It should be, but it's not always like that, bro. You know, we don't go off of should, we go off of what is, right? So there should be world peace. Charlie Kirk shouldn't have got killed, but he did. We don't live life off of could have or would have or should have. Like, we live life off of what is. And sometimes what is in this situation is the person that you're with just ain't meant for you. And they're using you and they're draining you of your mental health. So I always say, man, again, it comes back to the pillar of the winner's diet, right? Who you're around. This plays a major role in whether you are going to be successful or not, right? So it's very important, man, to really vet the people that you're with. Put them through situations where you can kind of see who they truly are. Kind of test them sometimes, But yeah, I've seen many men, bro. I've seen many men. This is why you see so many fat ass couples. They just settle for each other. They gave up. They feel like they can't do any better. This is what it is. If I get divorced, hey, I'm done for. So let me just stay in this. And mainly, this is how the man's thinking. Let me just stay in this, toxic ass relationship because it's going to cost too much. But I think, to me, it's going to cost you more if you stay. It costs you way more staying in a toxic relationship than it does of you leaving. This is for your health, man. This is your health. You can't play with this type of shit. You can't play with this type of stuff. I'm not a relationship coach. I'm a health coach, and this applies mainly to your health. So you thinking, okay, I don't want to break up with her. I don't want to divorce her because it's going to cost me too much. Man, every day you're in that thing, every day you're in that relationship, bro, it's costing you way more than you think. Oh yeah. You're paying more and more every single day than you think.